Start the recording. Hi, Melinda.
Hi, Jamie.
So for all of you who are watching, this is Melinda Jacobs. She is one of my best friends. She is a fantastic, intuitive coach and healer, and she means everything to me. Ever since I moved to Colorado, she's been one of the people that I have relied on a lot for daily processing, occasional clearing work. And she's really helped me heal a lot around, especially around my own feminine energy and about being empathic, intuitive, and sensitive. She's an expert in this area. And I just want to start, Melinda, by sharing a dream that I had about you last night.
I'm all ears.
Because
so much anticipation.
I think this dream really illustrates the role that you've had in my life, and I know dreams are, the symbology of them is they're parts of you, but who shows up in your dream really does represent the relationship that you have with yourself. So in my dream, I'm going through a ritual and I'm entering into this space that's kind of medieval looking, dark, Middle Ages in kind of color scheme and theme and feel. And you're there, and I'm going through a ritual, and I go through this ritual 3 times. And every time that I go through the ritual, you're there and you're kind of helping me. You're like, it's like you're the one who's holding my hair when I'm puking over the toilet. So in each of these, so I have this sense that I'm going through a ritual, some kind of ritual 3 times. And each time I have the ritual, when I exit the ritual, I throw up a bunch of information onto a table, and then you and I kind of look at it and figure out what it all means.
Oh, cool. That is how we are. Right?
And then the last time I throw up all this information and I say to you, I say, God, how long was I down that time? And you said, oh, no time has actually passed. You've gotten so good at this that the time that it started and the time that it ended is the same, which was very cool. Yeah. And you also had this pet snake that had 3 heads.
Oh.
It was a 3-headed snake. And this was something that you used almost like a ventriloquist. So I asked you a question, what does this mean? And you had the snake say, oh, we forgot to ask that. Oh, we didn't think to ask. And then I woke up. But I loved it because this is how you and I work together. We go into the darkness.
There's no symbology there. That is just,
it's kind of true.
Is so direct.
It is. Anyway, I loved the dream, and thank you so much for helping me puke.
Well, you're very welcome. And thank you for, catching my own vomit from time to time. And that's what I love about how we've grown and what we've experienced is we've always been in a very similar lockstep about what we're addressing, what we're integrating, what we're looking at, what we're facing within ourselves, and how that's always being so perfectly reflected into our environment. So you've been such a beautiful sister to me and have held me through some really challenging things. As we can tell, the planet's in a bit of a flux. And so, thank you.
Yes, thank you. So I'd like to turn the conversation directly to you now and ask you to just share a little bit about yourself, your background. I know there's a lot of people who do massage who are going to be watching this and would be fascinated to hear how you changed and grew in that profession and into what you're doing now. So whatever you'd like to share.
Okay. So I am an intuitive coach. I'm a clinical hypnotherapist. What I'm so aligned with on this planet and in my work right now is empowering people to transform personally and globally. And I think that's reflected in my own journey. I know that's reflected in your journey, is that that we have gone through so many iterations of who we are, what we do, and how we bring ourselves forward. And so I would say I've always been very intuitive. I've always been more on that magical realm. of life, kind of the Harry Potter world a little bit. Like it's always been a little effervescent, a little sparkly. And when I was 19, 20, I was really being confronted with all the repressed life from childhood, and I didn't handle it well, and I didn't know what was happening, and I developed and I grabbed onto a really intense eating disorder. And so I was binging, purging regularly, daily, making myself very, very sick. And that was the best tool that I could find in the moment to deal with all those repressed feelings. And so from that really propelled me into that healing journey. And job wise, I mean, I was doing, what I was supposed to do, doing the corporate thing. And so executive secretary, I became a paralegal. From that was my launching pad into massage. And then I did massage for about 20 years.
And you owned a studio.
I owned my own clinic. I had I think up to 14 therapists working for me at 2 locations at one time. And that feels like it's such a lifetime ago too. And then one day I just got bored. I'm just bored with it. And that's kind of my nature, is just like, all right, I just want to grow. I want to learn. And I said, to my partner at the time, I really want to teach. I really want to teach massage. And within 1 week, Jamie, I got a postcard in the mail that says, we're looking for instructors. And I'm like, of course you are.
I love it.
So I started working with a massage school in town. And I did that for a number of years. And during that time, a friend of mine who was running the massage clinic kind of bebopped by, and she's like, I think I'm going to go to hypnotherapy school. And I'm like, that sounds like a great idea. Let's do that.
Oh, fun.
Because in my practice, I was already very sensitive without really realizing that's what was happening. And I really saw the difference. I know you've experienced this too, is that people's attitudes about their ability to heal and what their healing looks like and whatever the condition is has a huge impact on their trajectory as to whether, our work is going to be very effective. And so when my friend's like, I want to go to hypnotherapy school, I thought, yeah, I want to get into people's minds and massage their belief systems. I want to get in there and do this and create some spaciousness. Like I got really good at creating space in the physical body. Let's create space in the creative center in our mind. So I did that. And that just sent me on this whole new trajectory around spirit releasement. Oh my God, that was ages ago. Cellular release therapy, past life regression. And that's led me into the more current things around emotional integration. And then I did a little sidetrack with a crazy teacher for a while and spent 8 years studying consciousness theory and metaphysics. So it's been a journey.
You've had an incredible journey.
Yeah.
What was it like for you to be in that community, that little sidetrack? Because I think a lot of people get stuck in that kind of vibe. And you've come out of it successfully.
I did get out of it. Initially it was wonderful, and it really spoke to my soul. Like I was hearing things for the first time that made sense to my world. And that was kind of, what I got caught in was, ooh, this person's really speaking truth. Like I could just feel it in my bones. And so, but then things started getting a little weird and a little sideways. And looking back now, I just can appreciate, and I so love and value the perfection of just how sideways that went. And ultimately it was a very destructive relationship. I think that it's an interesting dynamic for intuitive empaths. Like everyone has their perfect narcissist.
Yeah.
And I believe that narcissists are really here to teach us boundaries.
Yeah.
And we're here to help the narcissist see outside of themselves, to open their hearts and feel that they belong and are part of a bigger whole, and to recognize the implications of how we are being in the world. But yeah, it was a very toxic experience. It was very destructive. And I wouldn't trade it for the world.
That's how you know you've done your healing around something.
Right? Yeah.
When you wouldn't trade it in. Yeah. Okay. Wonderful. So you did massage, and if I remember, I do remember, it was around the time I was first becoming friends with you. You had a lot of difficulty transitioning, or emotional challenge around transitioning from being doing hypnotherapy and massage to pure hypnotherapy.
Right.
What was going on for you then?
I think that was just a really big, you just said it perfectly. It's just a big transition in myself, in my own healing. I was really great at massage. Like I have such like 110% confidence in my ability to touch a body and go straight to the place. And again, create that spaciousness, create that space for that person to come into that place. I did not have that confidence initially for my ability to sit in someone else's wounding or to sit and witness their story and help them find the way out. And so for me, it was just going back to absolutely the drawing board and relearning what it is to be in the presence of someone that's healing, to how to hold that space, how to know and hold that truth, how not to get caught up in the stories. So it was like there was this whole new level of relearning what I was already doing in the massage room and taking it into a more profound healing space through the hypnotherapy, the trauma counseling, and all of that.
Yeah. What were some really challenging things about when you started to learn how to hold space in that new way?
I wasn't healed.
Okay.
I wasn't quite fully arrived there. And so I made a lot of mistakes. I said a lot of things that looking back now, I'm like, but that's the growth and that's the learning. And what I really know now is that no matter how fresh we are, no matter how experienced we are, we're always drawing to us the perfect person that we can lead into their next 1 step, 2 step, 10 steps, 20 steps, doesn't matter. But as long as someone's a step behind me, I can take them that far. And recognizing I can only take someone as far as I am. I can't lead where I haven't gone. And so I think early on, I definitely took on some circumstances, some situations that I was just not prepared for. And I was too naive to realize it.
Right.
So got myself in a little bit of trouble there.
Yep. I know. I'm very grateful for all the people who allowed me to learn with them.
Yes.
I look back, I look back at my folders from 2016 when I first started doing CRT, and I'm like, I couldn't even take notes. I couldn't even write down what people were saying in a clear way. I don't know how it all worked, but it did.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I've gone back to some of my some of the very first clearing sessions I've done, and I totally get what that means. I'm like, what was I looking for? Like, what does this even mean? This doesn't even make any sense.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So is there anything that is still tough for you? Because you're like the master of everything. No. But is there anything that you're still you really are, though?
I think what's tough for me right now is to, on a moment-by-moment, day-by-day basis, is to practice what I teach, to really embody seeing the higher truth, staying in the higher vibration, not getting caught up in the stories. You know, day by day, you know, I see my bank balance change and I'll feel a little, and it's like, wait, stop, reset. And, you know, with some of the things that are happening globally right now, it's just, it's a really great opportunity to just practice what I teach. Yeah. And I would say that's my biggest challenge is I still get caught up. I still get sucked into it. And being an empath, sometimes I'm in it before I even realize I'm in it. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yep.
How are you navigating the virus and the pandemic? And
yeah, so I had a little bit of a challenge initially. I had my own panic. I definitely went into I don't think it was a full-on panic attack, but and some other things were going on in my life, but I found myself like I wasn't breathing. I just stopped breathing for like days.
Yeah.
And then someone asked me like, how are you really? And I could feel that level of connection. And that's where I started crying because I realized I hadn't been breathing.
Yeah.
Since then,
yeah.
I'm doing well as far as I'm practicing what I teach and filtering out what everyone else is feeling. I am practicing breath by breath to stay out of judgment of how people are reacting, to stay compassionate to those who are in high risk groups and they're feeling nervous, panicked, and acting a little extreme. And to just constantly remember that life doesn't end, that it is so continuous, and that everything is happening. I believe this, that everything is happening is always happening for our highest and best. And it's a little hard to remember that when things are tragic, when things are scary, when there's mass amounts of lack and limitation being acted out, when there's mass amounts of separation being acted out. It's a little hard to remember that this is for our highest and best. And I may not understand what the benefit is of having a pandemic like this. And I know that we've survived them before. I know we'll survive it again. I know it's an opportunity to come into wholeness, to come into that higher truth of our being. So that's kind of where I'm at with it at this point.
Okay. Well, I know I've taken classes from you on how to be in the body when these big vibrations are happening all over the world. And, you know, I've learned a lot from you as well about how to be with myself emotionally, how to let myself really be angry and not just pretend angry. Yay.
You're not thinking your way out of anger. Yay.
Right. Or like making stories up about it. But I'm just curious, what are some of the day-to-day physical things that you do for your body, even when you were working in massage or even now? What are some things that you use on a daily basis to just take care of your body?
I do a lot of that.
Yeah.
I breathe.
Yeah.
And I can't emphasize that enough, is just really connecting to deep breathing and exhaling fully and just coming back to the body, coming back to my experience. So that's the number one thing I do, is I breathe. Second is I do a lot of affirmative prayer. I've done them with you, and it's what I'm studying through the Centers of Spiritual Living to become a practitioner. And it's a study of metaphysics and how to do affirmative prayer, which is just knowing and holding the truth. And so that practice for me is one of the things that helps keep my body calm, helps keep me centered and grounded. I go outside and I get my feet on the ground, and it's such a great time right now in Colorado because it's just so beautiful out, and you know, the grass is already turning green, even though we know we have some more winter to come. So getting out in the sunshine, getting my feet on the ground, not in shoes, not on cement, like on the earth. And really just continuing to come back to that connection of feeling that earth energy coming up through my feet, feeling that energy of the sun coming down through my crown, and the two kind of commingling in the center.
Yeah.
Whew, helps a lot.
Yep, I'm right there.
And I give myself permission, lots and lots of permission to not have to be perfect, to not have to, you know, it's like, oh, I shouldn't be drinking Starbucks, and oh, I should be eating this, and I should be doing that, and I should be. Like, I give myself permission to be human, to allow myself to have my moments of panic, freak out, to remember that I'm very resourced. I have lots of tools. I have great friends like you that I can come to when things are getting rough, which I do that regularly. And so I think as far as how do I support my body, as well as developing a really good, healthy support group.
Mm-hmm.
I want to emphasize the healthy part, because in the past, I can absolutely see where my support group was not so healthy.
Yeah.
And no judgment, no shame. It just wasn't a good fit for me. And so really seeking out my tribe, my community that can elevate me and lift me up in consciousness, lift me up in spirit, remind me of my own truth when I forget it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I do for my body.
I love it.
And Starbucks.
And is it a chai?
Mm-hmm.
I'm so glad to see you drinking that.
Thank you. Me too.
It's
Just
so
getting
grounding.
real.
I mean, I think of it as medicine. It's so grounding to drink chai.
It
That's
is.
my personal feeling. Anyway, how do you know when your support group is not healthy? What are like some of the red flags for you?
So back to that community that I spent those 8 years in, I think the number one red flag was there was no self-empowerment. There was no idea that you've got this, you have everything you need to do this, just, take a breath. And there was none of that ever. It was a complete enabling and disempowering dynamic where I was actually told, without this individual, I was fucked.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And at the time, I believed it. And so for me it took me years to kind of come out of that brainwashing and to recognize, oh, I do have everything within me. And so that's kind of, for me now, the number one thing I look at is someone lifting me up and reminding me that I have everything I need within me already? Or is there some subtle or maybe not so subtle way where the message is coming through, you can't do this without me, or you can't do this without X, Y, and Z, or you have to do this program in order to get, I'm like, no, and no.
Yes. And that happens a lot in female friendships, I think. I know it happens in a lot of all kinds of relationships, but I think women really struggle to support each other without trying to fix it or get in the mud, like overly, in it with the person.
Or jump on the bandwagon.
Yeah,
and
jump
make
on
the
the
story
bandwagon.
worse. It's like, oh, you're right, he's such a jerk. I'm like, that's not helpful.
No,
that's not helpful.
Yeah. I
So
think
those
we
are the
as
red
women.
things. Yeah, those are the red flags I look for. And I absolutely agree with you that we as women were not taught how to support each other. We are known to be to cat fight for a reason. And I think it's just time for that dynamic to just be brought into the light, loved into, and recognized what it was and why it doesn't serve us anymore. We have to come together collectively as men, as women, and support each other into our very best.
One of the things I have learned in our friendship is, you'll have a moment where you are talking about what's coming up for you, and I get to just sit there and listen, and there's nothing I have to do.
I know, and you're so good at it.
Thank you. And vice versa. When I'm, complaining or venting or whatever, I'm doing my processing. You just, every time, it's so beautiful how you do this. You say, let me know if there's anything I can do to support you. I know you got this.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh, that's all I needed.
I think that just creating that container for ourselves and for other people to just be in.
Yeah.
Is so important.
Yeah, because there's nothing to fix.
Nothing. There's nothing wrong with it. So we're venting. So what? So we're having a moment. So what?
Yeah.
So what? And I think
tomorrow it'll be a new moment.
Right. I think the master teacher taught us that it's all about love, right? And somehow we seem to forget that from time to time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love to hear you talk about your spiritual path, because you've had a nice windy path, a beautiful path. Where did it all start for you?
It started with the red letters, the red words.
Okay.
When I was a little girl, I I didn't realize I was sensitive. I didn't realize I was different in any way. I thought everybody felt the world the way I did.
Yeah.
And we were dropped off at Sunday school, and I didn't like Sunday school. The teacher bored me to tears. And so I would entertain myself by going through the Bible. I think it was a King James version where Christ's words were in red.
Oh.
And I remember as a kid, I would feel the red letters, the red words. And I would look through to find where the pages that had the most red words. And I was just like, and it was literally like rolling in something just so delicious, so soft. And I wasn't reading the words. I just loved how they felt.
Nice. That's incredible.
So I would say it started there.
Yeah.
And I think I've just always been seeking for some kind of community, some kind of connection where we're connecting into the sacred. And so I did my time in, I think that was maybe a Presbyterian church.
Don't remember.
Don't remember. I spent some time in Wiccan communities. There's a huge Wiccan community in Colorado, in Denver.
Oh.
And we would have these amazing yearly annual events called Dragon Fest, and we would go camping for a week with hundreds of people. It was fantastic.
Wow.
And then I just got more serious about it. I was like, no, I'm looking for like-minded sacredness. And so I found the group that you and I studied through with Anne and all of that, and getting ordained as a priest in the priesthood, dedicating myself to Mother Mary and being in service of Mother Mary. Like, it's just been winding. And so right now I'm really feeling nourished on a soul level through the Centers of Spiritual Living. And it's a very all-inclusive teaching where it really is metaphysics. It's the basis of metaphysics, and really recognizing the vibration and the consciousness that we're holding and what we're buying into. But it also then pulls in through all the religions, all the practices, what they call this golden thread. And so through all the teachings are this, they're all saying the same thing. Like the basis of all the teachings are saying the same thing. And so they talk about the golden thread. And so just kind of bringing in the richness of all of the teachings, recognizing that I read this in the life and teachings of the masters of the Far East, was to deny one teacher is to deny them all.
Wow.
And I know. I know. It was really powerful for me. And so I think that there is something to be held sacred in all of that. And so I'm doing the practitioner training. I'm 10 classes away from finishing. And that's been a 4.5-year journey. I follow Adyashanti, who I think he's a Zen Buddhist.
Zen Buddhist. Thank you, because this is the next question I had, is what kind of things are you into?
So into
awesome.
Adyashanti. I love him.
He is great.
He's so fantastic. And what I love about him is he's so real.
Yeah.
So real. And I love Matt Kahn. Again, I mean, that guy is channeling a really cool, just the energy that he's bringing to the planet is so awesome. And I don't see it as him. He's not the thing. He's just one of many that are bringing the energy forward. So I kind of look at him like he's just a conduit. So it's coming through him. What else am I doing? Meditation. I've in the past done some days of silence, which are kind of in the form and fashion of Adyashanti. And so we spend most of the day in meditation and silence, and then we listen and watch one of his teaching videos, and it's a beautiful, exquisite day. So just more connection. Beautiful. Anywhere I can get it.
Yeah. I love it. So I know you had planned to do something else, but I wonder if you would be willing to do an affirmative prayer around the coronavirus.
Sure.
I mean,
how about I do an affirmative prayer about health?
About health, sure. That's
that?
Way better.
Let's not affirm that.
Way better.
Okay.
I would love to hear that. I love hearing. You guys are in for a treat.
So I'm just going to invite you, if you're watching, to close your eyes if that's comfortable for you, and just connect to the breath. And if any of the words I use bounce against your own belief systems, just please substitute the words that are meaningful for you, because all of these words we're all talking about the same thing. And so I'm just inviting you to bring in, call forward your own language that speaks to spirit, to source. And so in this moment, I am just knowing that there is one life, one God, one mind, one love. There is one creative source, the all in all, in, through, and around all things, all creation, all life, all living expression is a divine expression of this one life. Infinite in names, infinite in its expression, from the smallest place to the grandest of galaxies. I know this to be all in the body of God, all in the mind of the one, all in the heart and in the love of that one life. And I know that I'm part of this one life. I know that it is moving through me, that it is what brought me and thought me into creation, that I am made of the very substance of it. And I know this to be true for every person watching this. I know this to be true for every person on the planet, that we are all part of the one. Like a cup of water scooped out of the ocean is still containing all the elements of the ocean within it. We ourselves are just those scoops out of the divine, containing all the elements of the divine. And what I know and affirm is that in the body of God, in that body of the divine, there is perfect health. There is perfect being. There is an imprint within my body, within every body on this planet, of this divine blueprint of perfect health. And I am calling that forward right here, right now. I am asking that and knowing that to be informing my cells and everyone's cells on the planet of their perfect nature, their perfect being. I am inviting that grace, and I am knowing that grace of God to be at the back of all situations. Whether it's a crisis of health, whether it's a crisis in government politics, whether it's a crisis of finances, in any and every moment, I am knowing at the base of all things is that grace, that love, that beauty, that perfection that is the divine. And I'm just knowing that we are all held in a sacred love. I am knowing that we are all being divinely guided through this time and through each and every moment of our lives. I am knowing there is no place that God is not, that there is nothing that is not within me, that is not of me. I am knowing perfect health, peace, calm, connection, collaboration. Just knowing that as our state of being in this world, for we were taught to be in the world but not of it. And this is the way for me, for all, just to know the truth of our being. And I'm just so grateful for this time with Jamie. I'm so grateful for the opportunity to know this truth for myself, for the world, for the planet. I am so grateful. So I release this prayer now into that divine, infinite, receptive yes, that law of the universe that knows only to affirm and create and manifest these words that are impressed in it. So I just, with absolute peace, assurance, gratitude, and love, I let go, I let God, and together we say, and so it is.
And so it is.
Yay! Zing!
I know, I love that. Ooh, I found that so energizing.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so calming to just come back and remember the truth of our being, remember the truth of who we are. And that's really all affirmative prayer is it's just affirming the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's so many things in our world that are not affirming of that.
Oh, yeah, everything.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice to come back to it. Well, are you ready to do your next thing?
We're going to do two things.
I mean, do you want to do two things?
I would love to do two things. Are you kidding me?
Why not? Let's do two things.
That's absolutely true. I thought that was an instead of. So here's my thing, is one of the things that I know I'm here to do, this is my life calling, is to help people come into their wholeness, into knowing that the all of their being is beautiful, perfect, and just lovable and needs to be embraced. And so what we're seeing in our political environment is this mass separation. What we're seeing in the reaction to this current situation is huge separation. And so what I know is when I heal that within me, that I'm seeing outside of myself, that's changing. That's the effect. Here's the cause. Okay. So I want to invite people to come into embracing their wholeness today.
Great.
Yes.
I'm ready for it.
So I have a little bit of story first. There's just a little bit of story. I have a girlfriend who, I love her so much. She went through this huge transition in her life last year. She left a really great paying job that she wasn't so happy in. She left a marriage that she wasn't so happy in. And she followed her heart and her intuition against anything that made sense in her mind. And she moved from the United States to the UK. Just up and left. I know. So
for her.
I know. And so she landed initially for about 3 months on this island in Scotland called Iona. And when she would tell me about it, she would say, it's like, it's just holding me. Iona's just holding me. It's just hugging me. It's like just coming to this hug. And every time she would talk about it, she would say the same thing. Oh, it's just like getting this hug. And then just recently, it was time for her to leave the island and kind of continue on in her journey to her final resting spot, or planting spot, I should say, rooting spot. And what I really saw so clearly was that island, Iona, holding her like this, was teaching her how to hold herself like this. That there is these ideas and expectations of, oh, I need to be a certain vibration, and oh, I need to be positive thinking. Like we have all this weird spiritual bypassing that everybody's doing.
Yep.
And we're not really welcoming, holding, and nurturing the scared parts, the wounded parts, the parts that feel broken, that feel completely dysfunctional, that can't give up their Starbucks. Not yet. So we have this pattern of abandoning ourselves in our own process to try to find that better feeling.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to invite us all to practice holding ourselves just as Iona held my friend.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll let you to just close your eyes. Just coming back to that space of the breath. And just taking that inventory, noticing within yourself, any place in you that might feel a little nervous, a little scared, a little panicked, a little uncertain. Or maybe you're not so tuned into the world. Maybe you're tuned into more of your own private thing. Maybe you're feeling a place that feels inadequate, not good enough, unloved, unlovable, broken. And what I want to invite you to imagine is that place within you being enveloped in golden rose-colored light, just held with no judgment, no criticism, no expectation, no timing about when this should be done by. Just allowing that place within you to be held, where that part of you can just really drop into that healing light and truly just stop and just be exactly as you are in that place. And just allowing yourself to melt even more deeply into that healing light, as if you were being cocooned. And just breathing that within you, allowing it to move into every cell. And I can already feel people going, oh, I don't want that in every cell. Yes, yes. It's okay. It's okay. It's just who we are. This is the practice of self-acceptance. This is the practice of welcoming in the wholeness of who we are. Understanding our frailty, understanding our humanity, understanding and offering ourselves that compassion of, oh, you've done your best. That was your best. And it's okay now. It's okay to be this. It's okay to just be in this way. And from the master teacher, in my Father's house, there's many mansions. And so within our own being is many different places that we hold ourselves. And so I'm just inviting you to open every door and allow yourself to come out, calling it forward. Bring forward your brilliance, your beauty, your skills, your presence. Bring forth your woundedness, your uncertainty, your fear, and allow it all to be held in the one house, in that one light. To be seen, to be accepted, to be heard, to be acknowledged, to just sit and breathe. There's such sacredness in acceptance. There's such brilliance in who we are, in our humanity, in the divinity that lives within us, and the two coming together, becoming that one. At the very base of our being is perfection. And just holding that, knowing that when we act out of fear, when we act out of separation, when we act out of woundedness, that's us doing our very best. And so we can hold that, love into it, recognizing any place within separation within myself is being outpictured right now into the world. And I choose right here, right now, to hold myself in the separation, to hold myself in the polarization, to hold myself as one wholeness, perfect, whole, and complete. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes.
What perfect timing for me.
How was
Thank
that
you.
for you, Jamie?
It was really great.
Yeah, what did you notice?
I loved the visual of opening all the doors.
So good.
Because, I mean, I have a lot of rooms in my house.
We have many mansions in our house.
Yeah. And some of those doors I wasn't ready to open yet. Mm-hmm. But having the permission to be whole, to accept what's in that room was so lovely.
Yeah, it was our best.
Yeah.
Your face is different to me now.
I'm sure it is different.
Like there's like a light beaming off of you now. I'm like, oh,
yeah.
that's pretty.
I'm letting it all shine instead
Nice.
of just the preferred portions of myself.
Right. Those that have been deemed acceptable.
Yeah. These ones are okay.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So how can people get in touch with you if they want to work with you or have a question or want to thank you? I know how I can thank you, but.
Yes. So you can reach me through my website, quantum-therapeutics.com.
Okay.
And right now I'm offering a special. I just was nudged, I was nudged by the universe today to my question was, how can I be a beneficial presence in the panic, the fear that's occurring right now?
Yeah.
And so what I'm offering through Saturday night, 10 p.m. Denver time, is that if you schedule a session with me, I'll offer you a free follow-up session. So that's a 90-minute free follow-up. So that if you are having a hard time finding your breath, finding your center, then I can help. We can do some clearing. We can work through any cellular memory of any past lifetime of other pandemics, because we have those as a cellular memory. So some of the fear is just us getting activated from old memories. So clearing that, clearing fears, helping reconnect to breath, helping you hold the parts of you that are scared. Happy to help, and that's what I can do. Also, next Wednesday at 5 p.m., I'm doing an online class. It is a limited seating class that you can also attend, and it's about finding the calm in the storm. Yeah.
Is that something that if people are overseas and it's late at night for them, that they can buy the recording of? Or
so right now, the way it's set up is that it will be a Zoom call. And I do intend on recording it. So yes, I can make sure if people were not available, that the link will be made available to them. My little tech genius inside me just had a little panic moment, and I'm just like, I can figure that out. So yes, absolutely. If they and it's just $49 for an hour and a half. So we're going to kind of talk about bandwidths of consciousness, talk about how we can be aware of ourselves. I'm going to bring just a plethora of tools to help reconnect with center, get grounded, so that you can be the still point as everything's swirling around.
I love it.
Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you.
You're welcome. And I guess there's a link on my website to make appointments, and you can sign up for the class through that.
Okay, good. So there's a way to register. Okay.
Yes.
Amazing. Thank you so much for your time and for the many gifts you offered today.
You're welcome.
It was so much fun.
Yeah,
And,
I love you so much.
I love you too. And for everyone else, on the YouTube video, I'll have all of her contact information underneath in the comments so that you can reach out to her.
Perfect.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Have
Bye.
a beautiful day.